1.5. All right, there we go. Hello, welcome to the Steam Release Podcast. I'm your host, Dewey Bear. Joining me today are my co-hosts. First of all, he's back. The Radio Tom, aka perhaps a half dozen other names. But welcome.
Let's see, it started TJ Birdman to the Radio Tom to Tommy Bird to Tom Maple, and then the Radio Tom. There was a few others between there as well, but we're finally back now. Sadly, it's got on the Twitch side of things, it's the Radio Tom FM. Hopefully down the road I can cut the FM off, but at least now it's high fidelity is what we're going with. It's like we upgraded. But hey, thank you for having me back. Glad to be back on the podcast.
You know, it's okay to redefine oneself every now and then.
Just not every 3 months.
You were like a caterpillar turning into a beautiful butterfly.
If there was a lot of cocoons in the process, and then we just went back to caterpillar. We said, let's just get out of this thing. Let's go back to where we were, cut the wings off, and
You know what? This wasn't sold to me very well. Like your butterfly life isn't that great. It's all right. It's all right.
We need to go back.
All right. And the lady in red. She's here to steal your toilet paper and your milk.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Can't keep me away. Absolutely not.
It's Roadie Pie. Welcome.
Hey. And for everybody out there on YouTube, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe.
Yes.
And something about a bell. Do that too.
Yeah, the bell thing.
Click that bell. Click that bell.
Yep.
Yep. But yes, we're all comfortably embunkered all around the world, just in our cozy spring day. So,
I mean, you guys have never released me from my circle, so like I've just been here the whole time.
Oh yes, you've always been bunkered. But yeah. So we've had plenty of time. We've had that is a bright side of this season in life with the event is we've had a lot of time to play games, hopefully. Has that been the case?
I'll ask, Tom can go first. I'll let Tom go first.
Oh, that's delightful, as I haven't been playing a ton of games.
No, well, we've got some time to talk about, so
we do indeed. At least within the last week, I was playing a little bit of Diablo 3 because new season just rolled around. We did some Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars, because it's a classic. I love that game. I love that game so much. We've done little bits of everything, but my last week was very much spent hunkering down and getting everything ready and all that stuff. So it hasn't been too fruitful in the game side of life.
Well, hopefully things are gonna calm down a bit, but yeah.
That's a good list though of games. That's really good. Yeah.
Yep, a whopping 2. The other one that there were 2 others we were able to get in. There's a digital board game called Gremlins Inc. That we were able to play. Good little indie game. And then the other one, Armello. Another digital board game.
Didn't we talk about this one? No, this came out in 2016, so no, we did not talk about this one.
Yeah, no. Armello is an adorable little game where the king has gone corrupt and all that jazz. And it's one of those, you're either trying to kill the king, cure the king, or be his best friend before he dies so you take over the kingdom of Armello.
So there's multiple approaches you can take.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've had this game on my wish list forever, but I just haven't gotten around to getting it.
It's on sale right now, so
yeah. This is the game that the last time I went on a date, this is all we talked about was this game. And then we kind of realized that, you know what? We're kind of just like friends. So we just talked about games and we didn't talk anything about like each other.
Oh, I thought that would be saved for a second date though.
We had 3 or 4 dates and it was like, you know what? You're just cool. That's fine. We're not really attracted to each other, but
I
it was
see you're a
fun.
fan of the Bear Clan. No, I'm sorry, I was a Wolf Clan person myself.
But we did have fun talking about Steam games, and it was just like, well, this is just my podcast. So that's ultimately what the state has become. So
what you're saying is that doing this, you basically now put off from dating anyone that likes to talk about indie games. Me and Tom have put you off.
Well, I don't think there's much in the way of dating going on anyway right now. But yeah.
This face puts everybody off. It's okay. I'm used to this.
Oh, come now.
Right now, that'd be awkward.
Yeah. Rhodey, what have you been playing?
Oh, so because my partner's been off, it's like we've been catching up with a lot of TV shows. So we watched a lot of Babylon 5.
Oh my gosh, I love Babylon 5.
So I never got to watch it when it first came out, even though, I was definitely old enough when it first came out. But I would be watching DS9 instead. So to watch it now, and it's like, oh my God, how did I miss out on this? It's so good.
Yeah.
But I did play Final Fantasy 11, keeping up with that, and I did try to get back into Portal of Evil Stolen Runes collection.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
That's a heavy sigh.
yeah. Oh,
This
this is definitely one, and one of those logic games I just wouldn't recommend to people, even if it was like just something to like come
past
home from
the
work
quarantine
and
time,
and just de-stress from, because it is like it's mainly the sort of mini games in it that are just really annoying, just really that they take so long to get through.
Are they super repetitive too, or
they're a certain type of puzzle, one where it's like if your mind doesn't work that way, sort of, like how to do that particular puzzle, I think, they're more sort of like those kind of logic puzzles or something like that, or that you've got to move all these circles and to get them to fit in a certain way, then and if your mind doesn't kind of work with those kind of puzzles, then
you're in trouble.
And so it holds up the narrative, and the narrative isn't executed very well, I don't think.
So it's almost like a oh good, I don't have to hear the story, but you want to finish it because it's like you want to get over with the story. So,
exactly. I think I'm nearly finished with it. I'm in the second to last sort of section, so it's like once that's done, I can move on, be on my merry way. Oh dear. But what about you, Dewey? Have you been playing much more nicer games?
Oh, well, yes, I have. And we have Zah in the chat. Hello. Let us know what games you've been playing too.
Hi, Zah.
But yeah. So I checked out, actually just last night, I played the first few quests of Felseal Arbiter's Mark. Oh my gosh, this game is great. So this is essentially... It's Final Fantasy Tactics / Shining Force if you played that. It's really, really good. The writing is excellent. I'm already engrossed in the story, and I'm just really briefly in. And it's just a blast. I love it. I love it. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna end up playing this through to completion. But Felseal's Arbiter's Mark. I'm sad I kind of didn't play this in 2019 because I'm almost feel like, oh, this might have been my game of the year in 2019.
Oh, wow.
It's really good. It's so good. So yeah, I love these turn-based. The art is a little odd. It's not really pixel art. It is 2D hand-drawn art. But it kind of looks like pixel art because it's a low definition, like digitally hand-drawn art. so it's hard to describe the artwork, but it does all end up coming together, and I'm sort of like, oh, you know what, I really like this, it's great, I like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm a bit questioning about the artwork as well. It's yeah, but if you say, you know, the gameplay is there and everything, then
The gameplay is there. It's just an interesting aesthetic, but the more I play it, the more I've grown to really like the aesthetic. It is an odd aesthetic. It's very unique, but I think it sort of benefits it in that no one can look at this and go like, "Oh, this looks like that other game." No, it looks like Fell Seal. There's no other way to describe it. It looks like Fell Seal. So, yeah. Let me see. So it felt appropriate. So me and my brother have been playing games co-op every Wednesday, and I think we're going to be streaming that pretty much every time.
Ooh,
and
nice.
We played The Division because it felt appropriate. So we started The Division. You know what? It still holds up. This is a great game. It really is. It really is a great game. It's action packed. It's an RPG. It is not a shooter. I mean, the controls are very much like a third-person shooter, but it's an RPG. at its core, it is an RPG. So the combat is slower. It's not like the high octane shoot, run, shoot. No. It's not. It's like get to a cover, deal your DPS, get to another cover, deal to your DPS. There are tank, healer, support, DPS roles, etc. So it's an RPG, and I think that's one of the main reasons it has mixed views on Steam, is because everyone went into it thinking it was a game, because at least on the surface, a lot of the marketing made it look like it was a normal like first person or third person shooter. It's not. It's an RPG. So, but it is excellent.
My brother got really deep into the Division. He was setting up teams and everything like that, and it was like becoming his full-time job pretty much, and it was like really overtaking everything he was doing. So yeah, he had to kind of like pull back a bit from it. So yeah,
it is a very good game for co-op. Like if it's just two people that you want to jump in and play together, that's what me and my brother are really enjoying, because you can get into the co-op stage. Like it's like 15 minutes of the tutorial, etc., that you're solo. Then immediately you can party up and just play together, and it's very free form. There's not like all this. It's very much well designed. Like you share quests, etc. If you complete stuff together, you all get credit. The loot is also like not shared. You each have your own independent loot roles. So it just ends up it ends up being just an excellent low barrier to entry multiplayer game. But yeah, there is a hardcore element, but that's not me and my brother. We're just like barely surviving each of the missions, but it's a blast because we get to, have this difficult thing that we have to, struggle over. So I'm really happy that I have something to do with my brother.
That's awesome.
It's nice, yeah.
And the last game I played was Crosscode.
Oh yeah, I did see that you were playing that a bit. I saw. How is it?
This game is. Oh, I don't want to get spoiled. This game is fantastic. I finished chapter 3, and it was so heartwarming. This is set in. The game is set in this MMO. It's not an MMO. It's just a normal RPG, but it's like an isekai anime type thing where you're just in an RPG. But everyone knows it's an RPG.
Right.
And so you're in there, and so you're playing with these people, and there's an element where you don't have all your speech options, and that's like a plot reason why your character is kind of a silent protagonist. So you get like hi, your name, and like you can nod and shake your head. There's very few things you can say, and then like just as like the friend who's been helping you out, I was going like, okay, I'm gonna sign off, but I gotta go. And just as like she's about to leave, like the guy fixes your bye, your ability to say bye, and so you say bye, and it was just like, then she's just like, I say. Then she's so excited that she was finally able to say bye. She's been stuck in this world, unable to talk. And it was just like, Oh, my heart. And it was just such an odd. It was like that was some excellent timing right there.
It sounds a bit like the like Dot Hack, if you ever played that.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like it's an offline game, but you're playing it like the game is saying it's an MMO, and you jump into the game of the game. It's
Yeah.
great. I love stuff like that.
I would say it
Yeah.
is definitely heavily inspired by Dot Hack. And yeah, so I finished the autumn section, so now I'm going into the summer section of the game. And because there's like these 4 regions that are based on the 4 seasons pretty much. But it is huge. It takes 110 hours to finish.
Oh,
so
wow.
I am very little in. But the game, like how they end their chapters, is like you log off. And so they have this little bookend to every chapter where they're like, okay, you can take a break now. It's been like
That's awesome.
Like it's been like 2 or 3 hours. Like they literally have this point that they give you a breaking point where it's like, hey, you can stop playing now. kind of thing. And that's just kind of how the story like blocks it up. And it's actually, it feels right to stop at that point because it's like, now I'm gonna come back and it's gonna feel really natural when I start up the next session. So
that's so good.
Yeah, no, that's
very
great.
thoughtful.
That's like proper breaks in between like what you're doing.
Yeah, it was just a really thoughtful design decision by the developer who knows that this is a huge game and people could just like breeze through it, but it's 110 hours. So, and it just kind of makes you break it up, and I'm enjoying it a lot. It is a fantastic game. I'm terrible at it, but it is a fantastic game. And yeah, and let me see, we have you played the demo for Spiritfarer? That's awesome.
That is definitely a game I'm looking forward to full release. Can't wait.
You played Half Past Fate. We talked about that last week. That game, Half Past Fate. And Distance. I don't know what that is. Oh, and Not for Broadcast. Yep. That is in early access now.
Yeah. I watched Tom play it, and it was...
That is the most ridiculous game. I actually want to go through and just rewatch the broadcast because I missed so much of what was actually going on in their little snippets because I was playing this stress simulator mini game going on, so I didn't really get to sit and enjoy so much what the game was presenting in the FMV whatsoever. Like little bits every so often of like look up, it's like, why is there a censored naked person running across that I'm now having to switch screens from? What is going on? This is madness. So that's my only downside of the game is like there's a big part of it that you can't enjoy right away because you're spending all of this effort on playing the actual game side. But it's nice because you can they have like a little archive section where you can go through and you can watch everything. Like with no game with no gameplay to it, you can just kind of sit and watch it if you want to, and it's like I need to go back and do that.
It's such an interesting game. It's such an interesting game because you're obviously the controller of the broadcast, and you've got to like switch between cameras and everything, and they'll tell you before you start that particular broadcast or whatever, say, oh, we heard there's streakers, so you've got to make sure that you censor them at you switch to the cameras that they're not going to be on. So and
the probably the hardest one, just because you didn't know the song, was that there was a music video one where it's like they brought this group in and you got bonus points if you would swap cameras on beat. But it's like, I don't know the song. Like there was no indication of beat. You just had to magically know.
Oh my god.
or get a feel of it. It's like, oh dear God. Oh, what have I done?
Yeah, seeing people play that game, I'm like, yeah, no, this is not for me.
Yeah, everything going on in that game, it is so much fun. Of like the story of the world that they're creating. The actual gameplay is hell. And it's well made, and it's not me trying to like diss the game. It's hard. It is really hard.
It's a
But-
game I would enjoy watching for the pure Schadenfreude of it all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's definitely great watching someone else play it. I wouldn't have thought that, but it definitely is, because you get to, while they're stressing about like putting the cameras right, you get to enjoy
The broadcast of what's going on. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the part that bothered me too is there was an electrical storm. So every so often one of your cameras would get locked out. If you hit it, you would shock yourself. But the volume of the shock thing going on is murderously loud. So it's like I was sitting there, and then all of a sudden I was like, all right, oh no, I need to switch to that camera, but it's blocked out. I'm just gonna take the hit and just poof, and you could see me just jump in my chair. Like, it was so loud.
I mean, I feel like that's a situation where you need to like even have a setup where you have like those shock things that you can put on your hand.
No. It was enough as is. You get that idea out of there.
I have some perverse, sick enjoyment of watching other streamers just have unpleasant experiences. It's very entertaining.
I'll send you the VOD, buddy. I'll send you the VOD.
Yeah. So. And welcome, Buffoon Batman, to chat. And with that, I think we talked enough about what we've been playing this last few weeks. So we had a hiatus due to a collection of circumstances, and we are catching up on it, though. So this week, we are covering the January 29th to January 30th, which was an insane stretch of releases. Like, nothing got released in January for the most part until these 2 days. And it was just like, everything got released. So, with that, you know what? This first title makes me think of home, and it is Coffee Talk.
Coffee Talk is a coffee brewing and heart-to-heart talking simulator about listening to fantasy-inspired modern people's problems and helping them by serving up a warm drink or two.
So I find it funny that this is developed in Indonesia, but it's set in Seattle, and they seem to have so much knowledge about Seattle. So I'm like, do you have a writer who lives in Seattle, or did you live in Seattle for a while? I don't know. There's just like a lot of these little things in this game. It's just like,
That's interesting. That's interesting.
They did it to the point where I feel nostalgic about home, and it's like, how did someone in Indonesia do that? Either a lot of research or they have some personal experience.
So this is like reminds me of something like Valhalla. You know that game with the bar, Valhalla, and you know they're mixing cocktails, but with this, then instead they're making coffee orders instead. So yeah,
it's the temperance acceptable version of Valhalla.
Yeah.
So for the teetotalers, well, coffee totalers, yes.
This is like bartender barista simulator of half the job is actually making stuff, the other half is just listening to people.
Yeah, completely. I've got this on my wish list because it's like I really enjoyed Valhalla, and so I'm hoping there's going to be like a sort of similar vibe to it. I know Sincerely Day played it. She played it on her stream, and it's kind of short. It's definitely not as long as the bartending version of it. But it seemed like still very interesting, and they were very, very touching moments. So yeah.
I love the art style too.
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of a subtle anime type aesthetic. Just really nice. It's got very good reviews on Steam, and my cousin really wants to play this game actually. So it's a possible birthday gift I can get for him. Yeah, Coffee Talk by Toge Productions from Karawaci, Indonesia. Yep.
It's £10.29. And there is
$12.99 US, and it's got the Justin special.
Oh, the soundtrack.
It has
Indeed.
an OST bundle, which I will forever call the Justin bundle.
The Justin bundle. Yep.
I think there's also an art book as well. Yeah, there's an art book you can get.
The OST to me sounds kind of like, those like study tunes. Like it's all this sort of like, how do I describe that? Like the music for studying that they
like the chill coffee house.
Yeah, the
music.
chill coffee house music. Yeah. So I could see maybe some folks wanting to pick that up. But yeah, by itself, it's just $12.99. Ooh. Our next title is anything but its title, which is The Pedestrian, but it is quite not pedestrian.
I have no idea what you mean by that.
When something's pedestrian, it's like, oh, it's so pedestrian. Mm-hmm. So, sorry, I'm using like snobbish speak. Have you ever heard that?
Say, like, you got to bring it down to us country talk. Like, this game is calling itself Simpleton, but it's not actually a simpleton.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's just the pedestrian because it's being very literal. Because you're a pedestrian icon on signs.
I'm not a smart boy when it comes to these city terms, but I can see the signs in my sleep now. Always guiding me closer. Will this really work? Have we almost achieved the impossible?
That's such a strange blurb.
Yeah. Hi, we have a platformer puzzle game. Let's give the weirdest blurb possible.
I love that it is a 2D platformer set in a fully 3D world, but it like fits seamlessly together.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yep. Rhodey was kind enough to gift me this game, and I still need to play it. Hopefully I can stream it one of these days.
Naughty.
Hey, I took a little hiatus myself there. It's
okay.
Not just you that takes hiatuses.
It's okay. Well, we would all blush at the list of games that we have in our library that we haven't touched.
Yeah.
Although Rhodey's doing something about that, so
trying to though.
We believe in you, Rhodey. You'll get there like next 10 years or so.
But yeah, this title's developed by Skookum Arts out of good old Ohio. So it's cool, and it's just got, and it does kind of have that Midwest flair, doesn't it? The cityscapes, etc. No,
I would normally agree, but it's not a huge Midwest city vibe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it like seeing all like the apartments, buildings, and all that. I'm like, maybe one or two bigger cities, but not so much Midwest.
Yeah, maybe Cincinnati.
Maybe. People are driving properly, so it's not Cleveland. Sorry, I have a vendetta with Cleveland.
Vendetta with Cleveland.
I really do. Cleveland.
Anyhow.
I really like puzzle games, but I think the platforming element for it, for me, it's the thing that's kind of put me off actually getting it myself. But I'll watch a Radio Tom play it and make my judgment then.
There. Yeah, hopefully I'll stream it sometime this week. I'll let y'all know.
Okay. I completely forgot to add this to my wish list. Oh, it's a cockroach.
It's £15.49 right now.
Oh, yep. $19.99 US.
There is a soundtrack, but there's no bundle.
I'm just looking at the times people have played. I don't know if they've played all the levels or anything, but I'm seeing
average of 5 to 6.
Yeah, well, I'm seeing under 5 hours, but for a lot of people. But I suppose it's just how fast you can get through them, or even if they've played through the whole thing.
That's I see one with 25 hours on record.
Yeah.
Wow.
Took me about 4-ish for any percentage. We have some.
Okay.
Yep. But I guess with percentage completion, there's probably like special pickups you can do or whatever, like challenges. Like you can get past the level, but you could get past the level and get this thing kind of situation. Yeah, it's overwhelmingly positive, and I forgot to have it on my wish list, so I've added it now.
Mm.
And this was made by 4 developers.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's like the main thing is like mainly the puzzle with like some platforming elements in it, but I just don't like platformers, so yeah, you know,
It's okay.
like,
Different strokes for
yeah.
different folks.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you, Tom.
What?
All right. We've already kind of talked about this one, but no, we didn't. We didn't talk about this one. The next title is Ministry of Broadcast.
Yeah, you're thinking not for broadcast.
Yes, not for. I'm confusing the two. They're very different.
You bring on the guy with the name Radio, and then you start mixing everything around.
I do.
See how it is.
It's my blind spot.
It's really true. It's probably the blinding of my head right now. Hey, Ministry of Broadcast is a narrative-driven single-player cinematic platformer mixing Orwell's 1984 with modern reality TV. Country divided by the wall. To cross it and reach your family, you must compete on and win a reality TV show broadcast by the regime.
Running Man, anyone?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is developed by a studio in Brno, Czechia, or also known as the Czech Republic for those 1990s kids, or 2000. They only changed the name recently. Anyhow, but yeah, it's a 4-dev team with 3 contracting collaborators.
It's an interesting concept. It's and I suppose, of course, if you die, it's kind of like almost like permadeath, and you then go over your own corpse or something to get to the next bit.
So far I like the story. I like the thought of everything. The thing that's really been putting me off is the actual character himself. Like he just seems oddly lanky, and the animations of him like climbing on top of boxes and all that have just been off in a way that I'm kind of off put a little bit by how it looks.
I think they were trying to go for the Hyper Light Drifter kind of look with pixel art. And yeah, it's definitely not as appealing on art style. I think giving the characters a little bit more body would have felt, I don't know, visually better. But maybe I'm not a pixel artist, but
yeah, and I have no room to judge on that myself. We've looked at a lot of pixel art games, and the character is, I don't know, just seems a bit too simple, you know what I mean, compared to, I don't know, what other things that we've seen. I thought, yeah, it's definitely not, it's not quite there.
We've become jaded with experience.
It's true. Like I love the world art though.
Oh
like,
yeah, the background art's amazing.
The background's foreground, like all of that, everything's distinguished. Like I can tell where he can climb on, I can tell where he can be at, which we've seen a lot of muddy backgrounds and all that before. The background of this is gorgeous. It's just my one beef is the character. Like just the actual people models and animation. Take or leave it. I story is interesting, but of course, Running Man, 1984, all that anyway. Interesting stuff. You don't tend to see that too much in video game form, so I don't know. This is one that I kind of want to give a shot. I wish it had a demo.
Yes, yeah.
But with no demo, it is $14.99 for the game, and $17.98 if you want the game plus the Justin special of the soundtrack. Yes.
It's £11.39, and I'm just like seeing how long it is. I've seen people with about 7-ish hours, 7-9 hours. So yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good average right now.
And this one's also going on my wish list.
Yeah, reviews are a little mixed, with the controls being kind of the biggest point of contention.
That's always a problem, especially when
especially in a platformer.
Yeah, it needs to have solid controls. So,
but without testing it ourselves, we'll not the judge.
Yep, it is hard to judge. So, Another very another game that some folks might apply to modern day. We have Through the Darkest of Times.
Well,
Although
he
this
didn't
one's
get
like a
this one
significantly
confused.
darker time. The title's just the Through the Darkest of Times.
Oh, I just started reading this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Berlin,
this is much darker than modern
1933.
times.
Adolf Hitler is chancellor. We all know the consequences this message bore. Unspeakable horrors and suffering would sweep across the world. Few would stand and fight the monstrosity that was the German Reich. Will you lead an underground resistance group through the darkest of times?
Yep. So this is developed by Paintbucket underscore Paintbucket Deutschland, or it's a Berlin German developer, and yeah, it's kind of like a sort of, how do I describe it? I'm trying to think of a game that would be similar to this. It is not like Darkest Dungeon or anything like that. There's another World War II game that's kind of similar to that. I think that's Warsaw. But this one's more kind of like Papers, Please a little bit, except you're the spies, the underground, and you have to make decisions as different situations come up to you. And yeah, and there's a lot of multiple endings that can turn out.
I remember when Adolf Hitler was appointed chancellor in 1930.
I'm just looking at it.
Yeah, so the noir style artwork to this, everything still sticks out though. I like the use of little colors, especially with the theming and everything going on to it, but stuff still stands out well. It's not muddied.
Yeah, it looks really good. Just looking at the features it has, experience the darkest of times in 4 chapters. Fight for freedom, weaken the regime, and lead your resistance group. Plan activities, find collaborators, and try not to get caught. Feel the weight of responsibility as you make difficult decisions and face the dire consequences. Beautifully illustrated, expressionistic scenes and events.
I'm almost curious if they play. There's a board game called Black Orchestra where it's a cooperative board game where you are going through trying to kill Hitler. You have to get the plan together. You have to not get caught. It's a beautifully well done board game. Brutal as ever. And everything I'm seeing on this has the feeling of Black Orchestra, the board game, and I'm kind of curious if maybe they peeled that into this.
Yeah. Well, this one is more like you're trying to spread your own propaganda.
Yeah.
So it's all about like printing leaflets and writing papers and providing anti-government point of views. And it's also one thing that I've seen some reviews talk about. It's really interesting because you have multiple different factions all working together, and you also have to remember, like, the people who are working together, like, they're working together not because they like each other sometimes, but it's because they just have an enemy that they all
Common
don't like.
goal.
And so you may
common
have
goal,
some
yeah.
internal fights break out if people feel it's more advantageous to betray you. So there's all these interesting, there are these different layers to this story as well. So, which I think is pretty fascinating. But yeah. Paint Bucket Games.
It's £13.49.
That is $14.99 US.
I'm seeing about 6 hours, 6 to 9 hours, maybe.
And our next title is Simulacra 2. It's the second one.
Oh, not the first. Okay, I accidentally went to the first one. A dead influencer, an obsessed detective, 3 suspects piece the truth together by going through the victim's phone messages, videos, and social media in the follow-up to the critically acclaimed Simulacra.
To believe that I was just imagining things.
I do have the first game, but I haven't played it yet. And this is, and it is like completely up my street, this game. Yeah, I love it. You know, the FMV, in fact, it's sort of, it's a murder mystery or something, or definitely a mystery. So it's, yeah, I really want to play this soon. I'm surprised not as many people picked this one up as the first one, because you know, the first one was overwhelmingly positive, and it's just a massive success.
I like how they seem to have just gotten like a lot of just like average people to be actors, which is kind of neat. I always like the FMV, like how it can sort of feel like an indie film, like a very indie film sometimes. I don't know, there's something that's very charming about that. It's like, like it's I don't know, it's just really charming. They do often have some excellent actors and actresses. I don't know, like it's charming when you have that in a game.
Because like the screenshots and everything, there's nothing that's pulling me out of the story from what I'm seeing of just going like, oh, this person looks like they're just overacting for a part of some sort. No, it's actually kind of believable in a weird way. Like they've got the one guy, it looks like the detective you're talking to. We got like the military style cut. He's got the right jawline. Like it was like, all right, so he's already got the right look and feel of it.
Yeah.
Since 2015, it's really been kind of so there's like two genres of games that have sort of like reblossomed: the FMV games from 2015 and pixel art games. Both of those have had a renaissance in this last few years. And it's nice to see that these two genres that used to be really underserved in the last like decade or two are now back.
Don't make me regret this.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad, I'm glad that I think because FMV goes quite well with point and click games as well, and of course they had a resurgence with that when Kickstarter came out. So it's the same with the FMV games. So I'm here for it. But yeah, this is $6.99, and seeing quite a lot of people with quite a lot of hours put in this. I don't know. I'm wondering how many endings there are.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. These often have multiple endings, which I just imagine how frustrating like how much work that is. So it's like, okay, say it this way. Okay, now do the scene again, but use these lines. So it's just over and over and over. It's like filming a production that's 3-4 times as long.
Yeah.
Right, weird. But it gives replay value.
True.
Yeah, I think it's like reasonably priced. I think definitely the first game was like $3.99. So
yeah, and this is $8 US. So yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah. Definitely pick this up if you're into FMV games.
And this was created by an 8-developer team. I don't think that includes the actors. I think they might have hired actors, but it is an 8-dev team called Kaigan Games, and they are based out of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Righty. Our next title for those Otome fans, we have Demonheart Hunters.
Embrace or resist the demonic influence around you. Romance your companions in this RPG with an emphasis on conversation choices and character interactions.
So on the surface, I thought there was just like a visual novel, but it's actually an RPG. Like it's a straight up RPG with like a full story campaign, etc. Yes, there's the Otome aspect of it. So it's like an RPG with a dating sim, not just like a dating sim with maybe some RPG elements. So that's cool.
Yeah, I saw this like when I was going through the list, and I thought, wow, this is interesting, because I think they, on the first look of it, they're more bigging up the visual novel aspect of it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm like the way it's looking.
Yeah, it's definitely more intriguing than when I went, when I'm first going through the release list, and it's like, oh, you know what? I might even check this game out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I really like
yeah.
the RPG bits of it. Definitely, it looks like the games I used to play, like Neverwinter Nights. That sort of kind of art style, you know. It looks
Yeah.
a bit like that. I quite like
Yeah.
it.
It definitely
I-
caters to an old school. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I was almost jumping you, and I'm a little off topic. I ran into the features, and I like how the second one is 85,000 words of conversations with multiple choices.
Yeah.
I needed
Wow.
to know the word count.
So it's about as long as a novel. I mean, that's not bad. That's a pretty good script for a game.
It's impressive. I was just surprised to see it listed as the second feature.
I do like there's multiple endings. That's might be interesting.
Yes.
I hope it's not either you can choose to be the good guy or you can choose to be the bad guy right at the end or something.
Well, I know there's like 3 romanceable options, so you get to pick like one of those 3. So that's an ending plot line. But then, yeah, I do sort of wonder like how there's other dynamic possible endings with that as well, as far as like non-relationship stuff. But yeah, this is by Rolling Crown. The developers Rolling Crown. I have no idea where they're located, so I could not find much information on this dev at all. So. Yeah.
Yep, and it looks like there was a prequel story, which is a 100% visual novel, just called Demonheart, that came out 2017.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Interesting.
This looks around about 7 to 12 hours long. I've seen someone that's got under an hour. And they said too short. Definitely want more content, more plots. I wish there is a neutral instead of thumbs up or down. But sorry, I feel disappointed by the length. It's like, did you just skip all the dialogue?
Yeah, like 83,000 words. That's a lot of dialogue to read through.
Yeah.
No kidding. Super speed reader. I've been seeing like a lot of people in the 15+ hour range on this.
Oh.
Yeah. So someone said that there is about 7 to 21 hours of good content. So I
Not
suppose,
bad.
yeah.
When there's 85,000 words, not a single word more. 85,000.
I mean, it's a possibility that maybe they just like breezed through a single storyline and got to the end of that single storyline and didn't do any side storyline. That it could be structured that way. I'm not sure. So they're like, oh no, I want the demon boy, and I'm just gonna play the demon boy storyline. Oh crap, it's the end.
Well, this is on sale right now, 20% off. So it's £12.39.
Yep, $15.99 US. All right. Significantly less appealing to me, however, is this next title, Nubarron. It's not even so much the gameplay; it's just the aesthetic. Well, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Nubarron, the adventure of an unlucky gnome, where they decided not to capitalize adventure, unlucky, or gnome. So I'm already very off. Guide gnome across the dangers of this twisted fairy tale world. Can you break the curse that made that annoying cloud appear? Can you recover his stolen lucky hat? Can you trust your friends? Can I? Shit. Can I trust you too? Find out a Nubarron. I need to pick up this game. I don't know if I can trust you. It's a casual platformer set in a beautiful digitally painted world of weird creature.
So yeah, it just
cuts off. Yep.
Yeah, this is definitely copy and pasted from somewhere else.
So I love the design of the owl character, but then everyone else has this weird shiny bulbousness look to them that is really off-putting.
Yeah, it looks so weird because there's some it's just really well done, really well polished and everything, and there's just other bits. I would definitely say about the animation.
The animation.
Because it doesn't look like when you're jumping up. It doesn't look like there's this cloud that's following you. It doesn't look like it follows you properly or something, or it just looks. The animation looks very stiff sometimes. So yeah.
It is an aesthetic choice. I'm not even saying that it's an objectively bad aesthetic choice. I just really don't like it. And yeah, you seem to use that shadow puppet animation pretty much, so I think it's pretty much just flash animated, and there's like, they just kind of choose what the limbs were, and they didn't do anything else beyond that. So yeah. It's but the thing is, the gameplay is interesting. So there seems to be a mechanic where your cloud can like rain on you, so you can put out fires, and then your cloud can also shoot lightning, so you can use the lightning to kill enemies. So there's interesting aspects to this.
Mm-hmm.
But look at that face.
Yeah, and like the backgrounds remind me of a lot of like the Rayman games too.
Yeah.
I always like those games, but yeah, it's the second that they zoom in on a face and here's the big bulbous shiny nose, like, oh no.
I like the backgrounds more than the foregrounds. That is for sure.
Agreed. 100% agree. Like the backgrounds are gorgeous.
The backgrounds are really pretty.
And the gameplay seems interesting too. You just have to get over the so shiny. And, I won't sing that for copyright and for everyone's ears. But if I can get past that, this might be a cute little game.
Yeah, that's the thing, and it's like, maybe I'm just jaded. No, it is not me, it's the children who are wrong. Because this does have 100% positive, but it only has like 10 reviews, so.
Yeah.
Who knows?
It's £7.19. I don't know. There are boss fights in it, and I don't know. It just, there's certain things that it just lacks a little polish. I think there's certain choices that I don't think they should have made.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is I don't know how long it is because there's so many
varied.
So varied. There are times on here.
My average is I'm giving a rough average about maybe 9 hours. Because I've had a few sitting above 15, 16. I've seen some sitting around 5, so I'll go 9 hours maybe.
Yeah.
Yep. The developer is Nasty Cloud, and they're based out of Buenos Aires, Argentina. I think this might be their first game. Yep, it is their first game on Steam. So, yep. Oh no, that's Hidden Club People, their publisher. It doesn't take them to Nasty Cloud.
Okay.
Alright. But it's their first game that their publisher has published on Steam, I guess.
Okay.
So, yep. Oh, and it's $9.99 US. Our final catch-up game, so we can finally get to this week's games, is Here Be Dragons.
Here Be Dragons is a satirical turn-based strategy game featuring unique living map graphics, where you lead a group of crazed captains and eradicate legendary monsters in order to allow Christopher Columbus the discovery of the New World. I already don't like this now. Boo, Columbus.
I think this definitely has a bit of the sort of tongue-in-cheek sort of satiricism of the situation. I do like that it uses sort of the elements that people would put on the world map as basically the aesthetic.
Yeah.
And it's a dice game, so that's kind of neat. But yes.
It's got a bit of a Don't Starve artwork sort of vibe. Not as vibrant as Don't Starve, and not as many kind of like the hand-drawn look, but yeah, kind of similar in some aspects.
I quite like the drawings, the style, but I don't like the color theory because although it's referencing maps and everything, because of it's like the wherever you are or whatever room you go to, it's kind of makes the game look a bit drab. I feel.
Yeah. Also, I feel like, so this kind of cartoonified the map artwork a bit. where I almost would have preferred if it went like the sort of really old school look, where it's like, you know, it looked like it was drawn by a monk in like in the 1400s, because it's like they kind of go halfway there, but it's just not quite.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it would look a bit more elaborate, which I think would brighten it up a little bit more. Yeah. Better.
But stylistic choice. The cartoony look still does its thing. So.
Yeah. It's £15.49. I just trying to see.
$19.99 US.
Yep, and this is developed by Red Zero Games out of Warsaw, Poland, which is a 6-dev team.
I suppose it's depends on how much time you actually want to put into playing it, but I suppose if it's like there's like a campaign mode, it's like although it doesn't say how long it is. Yeah. That is kind of a pet peeve of mine, because it's like, if you have like a story mode campaign of anything, or if you have a narrative in it of something, it would be nice to know for the consumer.
What's the time investment going to be?
Yeah, completely. Because you know, some people don't have time to play
hours.
Yeah, to play long games, and some people do want shorter experiences, but some people want to play this really long game. Some people want to buy a game and then just play it all weekend, do nothing else. But that's,
I mean, timing is a hard one to do too, because everyone plays at their own speed. If you get stuck on a part two, timing is a little rough.
Yeah, but an estimate would be, saying, well, it's around about 7 to 10 hours or something like that. That would be really helpful.
Yep. Let me see. But yeah, it does have mostly positive views at about 79% of their 53 reviews, so that's not bad. And this is Red Zero Games' first title. So, with that, we are now finished with the Catchup games. Going to start out gentle with
Mustard games.
Monday, March 16th, we have Bone Marrow.
I relished in that joke too much. Bone Marrow is a game in the genre of role-playing board logic puzzle. During a certain time, combine the figures, increase your characteristics, and do away with the evil. But consider the wrong step can lead to irreversible consequences.
So there is like some weird English going on.
Yeah,
that happens.
This is by a Kazakhstani dev, a solo dev, Pixel, huge Pixel, but the idea of it is very interesting to me. It seems to be this board game where you have these different elements that you can combine together as you shift them around the board. I don't think this is a new game design. I'm sure there's been like other games that followed this sort of philosophy to them.
Yeah, I'm sure we covered one before.
Reminds me a little bit of the old computer Beetlejuice game.
Oh, okay.
At least just a little bit in one aesthetic, the board style and all that too. But
I think it's just like, oh, we took us an art style and then we put it over an existing game style. It's like making a new Brick Breaker game. It's not like you're going to do anything revolutionary, but it definitely has a neat aesthetic. I like the very much handcrafted, the pixel art, the really gritty pixel art look. It's nice.
The only thing I'm not a big fan of is that static background.
Yeah.
Because it's like looking at like the because it's like it looks like, all right, this guy's taking on a cobra, this guy's taking on this, but then the background never changes. It was just like
Yeah.
I don't know, it just feels like maybe they could have added almost like battlefields, or if you're taking on something else. But I mean, if that's gonna be my one beef, meh, because otherwise I love the character art. They're all, yeah, as you were saying, dark, gritty, gloom and doom. The actual pieces on the board are a little lackluster in
Mhm.
comparison.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
plain.
I do like how the board itself actually does change in size and in artistic design. So there's sometimes it's a 4x4, other times it's a 5x5. It has a different frame and a different color. So they do that, but the background never changes. And so it's like having just the background just like even change, like have a different color palette, or even like maybe have a world map that's behind everything and you kind of pan
Yeah.
over it as you go to different locations. That would have been excellent.
I mean, at
Yeah.
least this way they know they're not going to have any issues with their character art and
Mhm.
blending in. They're
That is true.
losing details too, but
So yeah, maybe just even having the color palette in the background change, just to kind of imply the environment that they're in.
Yeah.
That would probably have been helpful.
Yeah, because the main character designs were, at the sides, they're really good. They're
Mhm.
really well done, and it's like, why? It's a shame. It's a shame. There's just little things that they should have done that they should have put more work into it. But
it
this is
uses. Oh, I'm so sorry.
sorry.
Go right ahead, Rody.
This is 30% off right now, so it's £2 and 2p. Unfortunately, there's not enough reviews for me to see whether how long it is really.
Mhm.
It looks like the gameplay is based off of the mobile flash game, the 2048. There was a craze on that about 7-8 years ago, if my timing's right.
Oh.
That was the one where it was like you had like numbers on a grid, you slid them to combine stuff together to try to get it exactly to 2048.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Without trying to go over. So it looks like that was their base of a game, and that's how this is going to combine to play.
Yeah, I don't think getting to a particular number is the goal in this one though, because it seems you have to defeat monsters as you go through it.
Mm.
And you
But,
absorb like the shields and the fruit and this etc.
But it's all based on your number, which
Yeah.
that's how the 2048 did too.
Mhm.
It's only certain things could clunk into certain things. So
Mhm.
that if you were familiar with that, it looks like this is how
Mhm.
this was based off of that.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. Well, it's nice to sort of bring back an older game with a with a new coat of paint. To a degree. I think they do enough like thematically that's interesting here. So that's kind of cool. 2048. I'll have to check that out because I never heard of it before.
Mm.
Alrighty. Our next title. I actually own this game.
Same here.
Yeah, Super Bit Blaster XL.
Which one of the two is it? Because I have two same name, different price.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went with the one that says 16th of March.
I have both of them. Yeah, this one. Oh, okay. One of them is. Oh, so the Super Bit Blaster and the Super Bit Blaster XL. One is the bundle that gives you both.
Oh,
Okay.
gotcha. Because it's Bit Blaster XL and Super Bit Blaster XL.
Yeah.
That's they need like a designator for bundles.
Mm-hmm. So they have a sort of they should have a designator there, but they're doing the Super Mario thing. So they have Bit Blaster and then Super Bit Blaster.
But sorry, I'll go back to the professional read here. A super throwback to the classic quarter-eating arcade games of the 80s. Super Bit Blaster XL is an even more enhanced version of the retro-styled, addictive, and fast-paced arcade shoot-'em-ups.
I'm not a shmup guy.
No, me neither.
I'm just a schmuck.
But this one does look really neat. It is by a solo dev from British Columbia called so he has Nicker Vision Studios, but his name is like Josh Nickerson, I think. Yeah. So I know his last name's Nickerson. I keep forgetting. I don't not good with names. I'll have to look at his Twitter. But yeah, so just a solo dev out of British Columbia.
And I mean, looks like a very simple shmup, non-side-scrolling shmup,
Mhm.
Yeah.
which I actually almost prefer the ones that don't scroll myself
Mhm.
anyway.
Yeah, yeah. It's not on rails. It's a bit more.
Mm.
Yeah, it doesn't feel as on rails.
Yeah.
Nice.
I I don't know. I think it's because it's just not for me kind of thing. But I don't know. To me, it doesn't look that visually exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, if they were going for the '80s look, they nailed that
Oh yeah,
completely.
they nailed the
Mm.
retro 80s look, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They do have a
And-
nice usage of color. The fact that you're over a star field is a little distracting, but I suppose it applies the ambiance.
But at the same time, too, the very small, very dim stars in the background don't take away. Like it's not distracting from where the bullets
Mhm.
actually are.
Yeah.
Because I know that's been an issue in the past before with shmups of like, oh, is that a bullet or is that just background? And this, yeah, don't have that. Your information's all at the top is very nice and clear. How much ammo, your boost, your shields, clear, legible design, which you kind of need quick information in shmups.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all about being able to keep up and be able to quickly process what's going on, which is
Yeah.
things that I'm just not good at. So, yep. But yeah, Super Bit Blaster. It is only $2.79 if you're just getting the Super Bit Blaster. If you also want the prequel, it is $3.79.
I'm looking at the previous one. It's like I'm wondering. I suppose if you wanted more of the same thing, but then again, it's they look almost exactly the same sort of thing. I'm wondering, is there different things? Are there different things?
There is a note saying my
Mhm.
decision to release this as a separate title as opposed to an update to the original is because the changes are also drastic.
Oh,
I
there are
wouldn't want to
dress.
upset the flow of the original Steam game that people seem to love. About
Mhm.
self-worth, so the price will be higher than a single dollar this time around. Interesting.
Okay.
Mm.
The previous game did get a lot of purchases and reviews. So I guess I can understand, like, if you're doing a new game with, say, new enemies or new mechanics that might have been added. It's not so visually different, but I can definitely understand the nervousness of, like, just updating the old one where you already have a good thing going there.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
understand that. So,
And at the same time, luckily, it doesn't look like he got review bombed for putting out a new version instead of doing an update, because that does tend to happen.
yeah,
And
he's got
people seem to took this
100%
well.
on his second one, so...
Yeah.
Mm. Well, this is 30% off right now, so it's £2 pence. Sorry if I've already said that.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Oh, sorry.
And on
How
his
dare you?
on his website, he basically describes that he develops games to learn how to develop games. So that's why he's made all of these previous games. Most of them are just on itch.io. Although I think he's recently ported many of them over to Steam. But yeah, so he just kind of develops games to learn how to develop games, and some of them do very well.
I think it's nice that he has this portfolio. I know we say that if it's your first sort of game, to stick to certain
Mhm.
other platforms. But he's been slowly, building up his repertoire, his skills, and it's nice to see this sort of progression. Plus, he's keeping the prices still very low,
Yes.
which is great.
He keeps them all priced pretty low because most of them are taking a proven formula and tweaking it a bit because he's learning how to do it. So I am curious. I do like that he's done a different genre with most of his games, and I'm sort of curious what his next thing is going to be. So
Yeah.
Yep. So thank you very much, Mr. Nickerson.
Yeah.
Our next game is from Tuesday, March 17th, and it is Unlock the King 3.
New sequel of the successful Unlock the King, now with 3D boards based on Rubik's Cubes. A originally designed puzzle game inspired by chess. Move the pieces and create a path to unlock the king.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about this because the first one they did in November last year, and then the second one was brought out in January, and the third one was brought out in March.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they've been making a lot of games.
Yeah,
New
this seems
games.
like one of the sort of sausage factory kind of developers.
Sausage
I'm
Factory
curious if maybe
developers.
this was also mobile porting too.
Oh,
Or
maybe.
port from mobile. If it was going at that quick.
And they might just be developing a fairly quick game. So they definitely have gone with the formula of minimal viable product. Seems to be that thing. Like they produced a viable product. They've let me see, what other games have they made? Yeah, they have Night Swap, Zen Chess, Flatland. These guys. Oh yeah, they are a lot of chess related games. So yep.
And a lot of them came out like last year. It's not just the one game, it's like several, and that always kind of gives me a lot of red flags about, there's
I like the puzzle, like the plus side. I like the puzzle and mechanics on this. Like it looks like a very fun, like especially like if you like chess movements, that part looks good. The texture of the cubes themselves, there's nothing to write home about. There's nothing in the background. Music very plain, nothing too much there. It's just you puzzle with nothing else to it.
Yeah.
I would much rather go and grab something on my phone for a puzzle than spend. And I mean, yeah, it's 99 cents,
Yeah.
74 cents right now, so it's definitely mobile pricing, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep. It's inoffensive to me because it is fairly cheap, but yeah, it does seem to be more of a we put out a game every month to keep our small studio afloat.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's by Minimol Games out of Brazil, which is a 5 dev team. And so yeah, they make it seems that's to be their trend, that they make a lot of these small just $1 games and see how many sales they get.
Yeah, it's 25% off right now, so it's 59p.
Yep. 74
And,
cents US.
There are 50 original design levels.
Yeah, they could have done more, and my artistic side is like, no, you could have like made a masterpiece, but that is clearly not really their goal. So they just want to make small games that are functional and receive generally positive reviews. So right. Yep. But nothing hopefully maybe they'll get some more drive to do something a bit more exciting though. But yeah, that is Unlock the King 3. From Thursday, March 19th, we have The Explorer.
I'm not going to even pretend like I can read it.
Yes.
If I could speak the language, I happily would, but it's definitely, and it warns English language not supported.
Yes. So, due to the event, this Turkish team has not been able to get this game localized yet. So they don't specifically say that on this on the Steam page, but they that is one thing that they have to get around to. But due to the whole situation in Turkey, they're not able to actually work on this at the time right now. So they had finished it, but yes, it is all in Turkish. Do give kudos. It has a very nice aesthetic, though.
Oh goodness, yeah. Like watching through the videos right now, it is very pretty.
Yeah.
The jumping, the combat all looks fluid. I like the unique look of the monsters too.
Mhm.
Like they're both adorable and menacing at the same time.
Yes.
I have to wonder about the price though, because it's 40% off, and it's £18.59. Now this looks like their first game on Steam,
Mhm.
and the thing is, it looks very nice and everything, but it's not something that's very unique,
Mhm.
if you know what I mean. Because those, like a very unique game, a very like sort of like an indie darling sort of game, like does really
Mhm.
well on this platform.
Yeah.
Whereas
Absolutely.
something, and it's usually around about like £15 or under, and something like this, it's like I don't know how you can charge full price, which will be like, you know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
40 US is full price.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a pricing issue. I know perhaps they took some bad advice about how to price it internationally, because here's the thing, like they could price it significantly less. And the thing is, with this being a Turkish language game, you already have a fairly limited audience, and that it's mostly going to be people who understand Turkish, which is, you know, tens of millions of people. I think just over 100 million people probably. But you're going to have... You probably don't want to price it that much. And also, like, when you get US dollars, the conversion rate to Turkish lira is pretty good. So a dollar goes a much farther distance in Turkey than it does in most of Europe. So I just don't understand that really high price. It does look very fluid, though. I will give it that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The light, the shadows, the artwork, the gameplay, it looks great.
But it's not even quite AA quality, really. It's indie. It's very much indie. It's not quite AA. It's on the cusp of it, though. And they're demanding a AA price, and I think that's a problem. But as far as like being able to sell a lot of copies. So, not to devalue their amount of work, because this is clearly an accomplishment. It's beautiful.
Yeah, we spoke about this before. It's like, you might think that, you know, and you may have put a ton of work into your game, you know, really made it polished and everything like that. But when you put it out there, in the shops or on the platform, it's, you know, it's the consumer that's going to look at it and say, this is how much this is worth.
Yeah. And at this price, you could get Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
Like the remastered Ratchet and Clank. Or you could get Spyro. Like games that are in this similar sort of genre for the same price or less. Yeah. So that's the thing.
If it started at because US on sale is $23.99, if it would have started there with a sale with the 23 being the full price, okay.
Yeah.
I would actually be on board for that pricing. The sale price feels like that should be the start price.
Apt observation, Za. Yes, this one does have a cute girl. That is something Ratchet and Clank doesn't have. But yeah, I think you're right there. If it started at $24, I would not be offended at that price. That's like kind of in that middle area of like, it's independently developed, it's really high quality, but it's not quite AA. And that's and a lot of AA games are priced at that level too. And I think that's fine. Like $24 on sale, you can pick it up for a tenner, and I think that would be pretty satisfactory.
Yeah, I'm curious how long the game actually is too, especially compared to price. But because I mean, if you magically are getting like 100 hours out of this, okay, maybe. But I know we're all doubting that.
I mean, Zara has played the demo, and yeah, it's pretty fun. So 25-ish $8 seems about perfect starting price. I don't know. I don't know. I would say, but like less. Maybe I would say. Right. UK price maybe 12 to 15. Is that about that much?
I do like seeing the variety of enemies that the game has. I think that's pretty neat. There's a lot of different environment models, etc. I don't see a lot of copy and pasting. So again, like, this looks very handcrafted. So I'm impressed. But yeah, it's this one is one to watch for when it gets that English patch, unless you're bilingual and you happen to know a bit of Turkish, or you're interested in learning Turkish. Do some immersion, like hard immersion therapy. Check it out.
Or do what I did with Bloodstain. Don't read a thing, just bash through everything.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah, you can. You can. I've played many a non-English game and just kind of guessed my way through it, so. All right, and that
It's not a story RPG. You'll be all right.
That is The Explorer by Sedsan Games, located in Mevlana, Halit, Mahallesi, Turkey. And yeah,
Did you say that
they
5
do
times
have a
fast?
demo. No. I'll probably say something horrible.
Now I kind of want you to, no?
And now we're on to our last day, Friday, March 20th. Our first title is Bounce Night.
Wait, our last day? There's no more days? What happens to the days, Dewey? No! No, where did they go? Oh, I get it now. Hey, delve into the lair of the Packomancer and overcome his gauntlet of traps, trials, tricks, and army of the undead, all while trying to rescue your beloved pet dog.
I'm kind of disappointed now. You have to rescue the pet dog, whereas I thought, oh, the doggy be with you on the adventure. That I would have preferred that.
Or the doggy saving you.
Oh yes, doggo.
It is. So it's this really like interesting sort of pixel art where I think it is. I feel like it's like true 8-bit rather than the 16-bit that a lot of people call 8-bit. So it's just like very small models. I think on a full screen, this would be easier to tell where the character is.
Yeah.
Because he's just this little small block. Like he's like 90% head. That's it.
Sounds like me when I was a bartender. Pouring a beer, 90%. Yeah. That was a
Yes.
stretch. I'm sorry.
Yes. Thank you for the explanation.
That's why you bring me here for this hard-hitting analysis.
Absolutely. That is why we bring you back every time. That's right. But it's cute. I actually like the designs of the non-player character a lot more than the player character, though.
Yeah. The player character keeps blending into the background and floor to the point where, like, and where you brought it up on a bigger screen, you could probably see him better. I keep losing him on all of like the screenshots going by the video. I keep losing where he is.
So here's in the cutscene, like he's that big in the cutscene. I feel like that's how big he should be in the entire game.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because he's just so tiny. He's so tiny on these other screens.
But the gameplay looks smooth, fluid. You're trying to save a pup, which already gets points in my book. It's got the John Wick rule.
I was
Sort of.
I was worried would be like too similar to Shovel Knight or something. Because when I
Jump
saw,
Knight.
when I saw the title, I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safely not similar to the Shovel Knight, so that is good. It's a bit different. He jumps ridiculously high. Also, there seems to be hidden areas, so that sort of Metroidvania kind of feature. That's neat.
And kind of like Shovel Knight.
Yeah, kind of like Shovel Knight. Yeah.
Because Shovel Knight had a ton of hidden areas too.
I think that's just like that kind of era of games. They just have like
True.
cool secret areas and everything.
Yep. This is by Siege Games out of Canberra, Australia. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong because Australians don't understand vowels, so I never know how to pronounce any of their cities.
Just say crikey a lot and you'll be good.
Canberra? I think it's Canberra. But yeah. Bounce Night by Siege Games. It looks great. And I gotta stop touching my face!
It's £7.19. Anyway.
Yeah, it's $9.99.
US. Yep.
Not an offensive price. It's cute. Yeah, and I've seen quite a variety of stages, etc. So I imagine it's probably getting close to 10, at least 5 hours out of this. Let me see. What do the reviews say? There's only one review. 3.5 hours. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. And our final game on the final day is Beyond This Side.
A woman mysteriously disappears. The cops find nothing. Sam struggles to wrap his head around the tragedy of his lost wife.
Eesh. Yeah, so this one is a I believe it's a puzzle. Is it a point and click?
So, I mean, it's an adventure game.
Mhm.
It's not quite a point and click game. This developers used to work on kind of hidden object puzzle adventures. So not
Mhm.
like hard hidden object games. It wasn't like straight hidden object games. It was like mix of games. So they're going into more adventure games now. So it's but yeah, there are certain things that make it seem like point and click, but it's not quite.
It has a weird aesthetic, at least as far as the character models, but the backgrounds are fantastic.
Oh yeah.
The backgrounds just make me think of gritty 1970s New York. I don't know if it's set in New York, but it feels like New York. The 1970s.
The character art reminds me a little bit of Broken Age.
Yeah.
I can see that,
slightly.
yeah.
Just slightly. And then the game is describing itself as a point and click adventure. Going into the about section. So clear that little part up.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because what they put on the screenshot is like you can't see like any inventory
Yeah.
sort of things. So I'm like,
Yeah, so I mean they're trying to claim point and click, and I mean sort of, but I don't know. This looks interesting, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
for the price right now too, it'd be something I'd pick up to try.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's only £3.59. So I think it's like interesting enough, like sort of like entry level to see what this game is all about. Definitely, I'm very curious.
Yep, it is $4.49 US with 10% off. It's $4.99 full price, and that's just an inoffensive cost. So...
Yeah, there's like mini games in it as well. So I would have to. I'm quite curious how those are, and yeah, solve many puzzles, quests, and mini games.
And it seems like you get to play multiple different characters. Like you get to play this sort of goth-looking lady as well as the sort of haggard-looking dude. So you seem to get to play multiple characters.
I think you just might be talking to her or questioning her.
Oh, really?
Might be.
Yeah, that's kind of what it seemed
Oh,
like.
maybe. It is hard to tell because there's no.
Yeah, because you essentially play as Sam.
Oh no! See,
yeah.
There is a little bit of inventory right there. So he seems to have a letter.
Oh, okay.
They seem to be really
Yeah,
clever with sort of hiding the inventory or hiding the UI elements kind of towards the edges of the screen.
Yeah. You read it.
I'm putting this on my wish list because I want to give this a go eventually. I'm curious to see how how long it is. I'm seeing people with like 4 or more hours on it. So yeah, I'm curious.
I'm curious. Yeah, it's a story game. I think this is probably right up your alley. It looks like a weird murder mystery, so that sounds fun. And with that is all of our list. That is the list for this week. We had only 6 games that were actually from this week. We had
Other games came out besides Animal Crossing and Doom Eternal.
Yes, they're despite
we just
what you
talked
may
about
think. There are lots of other games.
What? I thought it was only those 2. Ignore the fact that we just spent this time talking about the rest of them.
Industrial petting. Am I going to see something horrible if I search for this?
That's what I was thinking.
Oh no! This looks fine. Oh, okay. It's an early access game.
Oh yeah.
Death Factory's been out on Epic for about a year now. It's a great game.
Yeah. See, we tend not to cover early access games because you never know how they're going to end up.
Yeah, how they're gonna end up. Is it gonna ever come out of early access? But yeah, so that is one reason why we don't really cover them very much. But yeah, when they do come out of early access, we will definitely talk about them. And that is one thing that I saw a lot this January. Well, this last week even was the game's like, oh, this looks good. Oh darn it, it's early access.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because like I think a lot of games get a lot of fanfare when they do start out in early access, and then like people just forget about them when they come out sometimes.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure people are aware, like, hey, this game that you might have been waiting on, like Crosscode, it's out now. You should check it out. Crosscode was sold a lot, but I keep running into people when I say Crosscode, they're like, oh, I heard about that game. Is that out now? They just had no idea that it is out now, and they just never checked it out because they were waiting for it to be finished.
Yep.
So
now that I know, it's definitely one that I really want to pick up.
It's so good. You gotta check it out. It's a very good game. Anyhow, best of the list. Who wants to go first?
Are we including Catchup or no? Are we just
we can include Catchup,
definitely Catchup. Yeah, definitely.
I was curious. Because otherwise, for this week alone, I'd probably, if they could bring the price down, I'd give it to the Explorer. It looks good.
It does look really good.
I don't know what it's about, but I'm looking at it going, man, I actually really want to try that game. But of course, the issue is the price point. But if I can put that off to the side, I actually really want to try it. It looks so good.
It does. And as a 3D adventure game, I mean, I've got like Spyro on my wish list. There's a lot of 3D adventure games that I have on my wish list that I just really want to play. And I feel like this could fit in that category. But I do want to wait for the English release. If they're ever able to like all get together and do that again.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, within the Catchup, my pick in the Catchup is still Mustard. I'm gonna beat that joke to death. Otherwise, it's the Pedestrian. It looks good. I still need to play it. Hopefully, I can get a stream of it or a video of some sort of it up this week. I'm shooting for. So yeah, so I'll do that. I'll pick one from the Catchup, and I'll pick one from this week's list. That seem fair?
I think it's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
Yes. I would for this week. I would say Beyond This Side. It looks like the artwork's like super interesting, and I think and I'm curious about the story as well. I'm quite curious about that. And you know, I love point and click games, so yeah, for sure. Now from our catch-ups, I would have to go with either Simulacra 2. It's such a weird name, Simulacra 2. Yeah, so I like FMV games, love FMV games, and I still have to play the first one. But I like those murder mystery games. I like FMV games, and it just looks really super interesting. After picking up one, Coffee Talk, because that's been on my wish list for a while. I mean, keeping an eye out on it, and it is just quite relaxing. Making coffee, being a barista, making coffees, listening to people's problems, and seeing a story unfold.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Dewey?
Well, I'm gonna have to agree with you. Coffee Talk is probably one of the ones I'm most interested in. Partly, I think, nostalgia, but partly because I don't know. It looks like it. I love coffee, and it's just like kind of a subplot thing. The sort of like story, and the fact that you can just kind of just a chill game to play, especially like in this time where I might be. Well, I've kind of been like sick and then not sick and then sick and then not sick, and so those games where you can just like click with the mouse.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to agree with Tom and say that The Pedestrian is definitely up there as one of the games I need to check out, like the best of this week's list.
Is it your tight and juicy game of the week?
I wondered when you were going to say that.
I forgot about that.
Oh, you shouldn't. It will come up.
Yep. And from this week, you know what? None of the ones from this week am I particularly enthused about. So yeah, that's probably my two, is Coffee Talk and The Pedestrian are the two I am most interested in.
There.
Yep. So, and with that, that's all we got. Chat, let us know what your favorite games of this week were. And Tom, Radio Tom, tell people where you are on the internet and what you've been up to.
Well, I'm currently here on this podcast on the internet, twitch.tv/DeweyBear. Check it out. It's a great channel. If you haven't followed already, please do so. And then also check them out on the YouTube channel and the Steam Curator page. I love these two to pieces, and they do a wonderful job, and they put a ton of work into this every single week, even though I come on and I'm a goober who doesn't do any of the pre-setup work. I just look at stuff and make the comments and the jokes and the funnies. So that's my that's my shameless plug. Otherwise, I'm back on Twitch. It's now twitch.tv/the RadioTomFM, all one word. We're trying to stream Monday, Tuesday, with Wednesdays off. Thursdays we're gonna do Thursdays, Fridays we're doing double streams where we're gonna try to do community stuff in the evening to try to help get through these dark and strange times. So this Thursday we're gonna be doing some Jackbox. So come on in, have some good times.
That is awesome. And I'm really glad you went back to kind of the old theme. I liked it. I always liked the Radio Tom. So
I wish I didn't have the FM on it, but it hadn't been 6 months since I dropped the other one. So it's like, So at one point there will be one final name change, hopefully, where I just drop the FM off.
Yeah. Alrighty. Rhodey, what about you? What is you up to, and where can they find you?
Hopefully,
Yeah, where can I find you, Brody?
If I can, hopefully, if we tear myself away from watching Babylon 5 with my partner, you can find me on Twitch, and I will be trawling through my ever-growing list of a library on Steam, and I'm gonna play some nice adventure games, point-and-click adventures. So, but also do check out our curator page, or you can find it here. I'll just post that for you. And people of YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe and click that bell.
Yes, indeedy. Check us out. And yeah, this is a really good time to catch up on all those TV series you haven't gotten around to. So it's a nice time to do that. Hang out with family.
Gave a shot to Lock and Key on Netflix. It was one of those, the trailer looked awful, but the graphic novel it was based on actually looked really good, so gave it a whirl, and it's actually a pretty good show.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Lost in Space is really good. The new Lost in Space.
Awful.
You don't like it?
I love the original.
I love the original too.
The original series, even the movie is decent. This was awful.
Really?
Yeah.
With
Yes.
the exception,
Sorry, Dewey.
I love what they did with the robot.
Uh-huh.
Like the and I won't spoil stuff in case people haven't seen the
Mm.
show. I liked what they did with the robot in this, and I was interested in the Dr. Smith plotline on this one compared to the original. I was like,
She's
okay,
the best character.
But the family itself, I
Oh,
don't
it's
like the
so
family.
they're
Don't
so
like the
painful.
family?
They're so
Okay.
painful.
That's the whole first season is the family being assholes to each other, but
Yeah.
like it gradually, like those wounds gradually heal, and in season 2 you see that character. It's
But you have to go through the first season to get to the good part, and that's what that's the thing. A TV show shouldn't have to make you go through a whole first season
True.
to actually get through to the good stuff. Saying that, I did like DS9, and
Yeah.
you just have to get through the.
Yeah, the first season of DS9 is hard.
Yeah.
There's some excellent episodes in the first season, but the first season.
But Babylon 5, oh my god, first season, my god, it's so
The first
good.
season's weird.
I'm sorry I rained on your parade. If you enjoy it, I'm glad you enjoy it.
Because like by
Enjoy
the
your
second
show.
season, every character I disliked, I liked in the second season, and it's like there was a progression there, and I felt so good. But I also binge watched the whole thing over Christmas.
Oh well,
with my
you
family,
see that
so
that's the thing. It's like if you can bring yourself to binge watch something, then it's like
Yeah, we did the first 2 episodes back to back, and just we hung it up because it was one of those like I wanted to keep watching for Dr. Smith because I love that plot line, especially compared to the original. Because there he was just an evil jerk who hated the family, but it's like in the original it's like the family gets along, everyone's great, and this one's like we're all moody and broody.
Yeah.
Like,
Dr. Smith is amazing. She is so amazing and so evil, but so amazing, and I love her.
That's the thing. That's the thing. It's like I think we did the same. Tom was like, we watched the first 2 episodes back to back, and I was just like, and he was like, do you want to watch any more of it? I was like, not really. He says, yeah, I feel the same. It's like, okay, we're done.
Yeah, the only 2 things that maybe could have pushed me through was finding out more about Dr. Smith, because oh man, that the Dr. Smith stuff was great. I'll give you that, and then more stuff about the robot, because that line was actually really interesting.
Oh yeah,
But
that also gets very well developed. So
when the family is the main point of the show, it's like no.
Yeah. It's definitely a dysfunctional family but it becomes functional. But yes, yeah, okay. Anyhow, all this rambling about TV.
Wrong podcast.
Me, oh man, now I want to do like a sci-fi TV series podcast or something.
I would love to do like a TV series podcast. That'd be fun.
But then we'd like have to like force each other to watch shows that like
didn't
like.
That's a really good point.
That would be a thing.
Mind this idea.
Like we'd have to do like a turn. Like it's like okay, we draw straws and who goes first, and then it's like okay, we gotta all watch this, and it's like no, and it's like okay, my turn. Now we all have to watch this. No. Anyhow, this post section has gotten really long. So
yeah, I'm sorry, everybody. My bad.
I am streaming again on Wednesdays. I am playing multiplayer games with my brother. So it'll either be The Division or Final Fantasy 14 or whatever other shenanigans we can think up to play together. But yeah, right now I think we're really enjoying The Division. Also, my brother's very sick, so it feels very important. So it's very pertinent to the situation.
He gets feeling better soon.
Yeah, the whole family's under quarantine up in Washington. But so there's that. And on Tuesdays I am streaming single player games. I may stream on additional days, but those are at least the 2 days I am gonna make myself stream on those days. I have like a schedule. I'm gonna do it. That's how I'm gonna do it. It's Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And of course we'll be back here on Sundays for the podcast. I almost forgot that. Anyhow, thank you, everyone. Thank you, YouTube, for watching this very long post section.
Sorry, my bad.
Like and subscribe.
I've just missed you all so much.
We love you. And to our Twitch folks, also thank you for coming in. We have Zaw, and of course, Cool Ice. And Shinchimax, all of y'all, thank you for co-hosting.
Buffoon Batman.
Oh, Buffoon Batman. Yes.
Yes.
You were about to forget Buffoon Batman? How dare you?
Oh. All right. So yeah. Farewell. Bye.
Bye.